Many anglers practice catch and release, but did you know there's some points to keep in mind to reduce fish mortality? Joining us with the details, game and fish biologist Doug Leier. Thanks for coming in today. First, let's just start with catch and release. A lot of people do play by those rules.
Right, they do, and it is really something that's quite honestly become more common practice over the last number of years, where people, they love to fish, and they also enjoy putting them back because let somebody else catch them, and so it's really something that's been quite common practice, is the catch and release mentality.
Okay, so it seems like you should just fully understand how it works, but that's not necessarily the case. You have to have a little more care and thought when you're doing this to do it the right way.
You're absolutely right. There's a lot of things in life where there's a right way and a wrong way, and just simply doing catch and release doesn't guarantee that the fish are going to survive, that it's going to be beneficial to the fish itself and to the fishery. In fact, even in wintertime, where people maybe don't think as much about the catch and release component of fishing, biologically speaking, if you injure a fish and just throw it back, it doesn't do any good. If it's mortally injured, it goes back into the water and it dies. There's also even some it gets kind of complex physiological issues. If you're fishing in deep water, say 30 feet or deeper, Devil's Lake, Lake of the Woods, and if you think about catching a fish at the bottom, and then you rapidly pull that up to the top, it can do some internal damage. Those pressure changes from way deep up to the top. So the fish may be looking okay externally. You catch the fish, you drop it back into the water, and it doesn't survive. Well, fish that don't survive, catch and release really ends up doing really nothing to help out the fishery, Lisa.
And I don't fish a lot, so I'm sorry if this is a bad question, but so when you're fishing, do you know, you realize the depth, right? So you
yeah, it's a great question.
Okay,
it's a great question, is because, so what you can do is determine, okay, I'm at 20 feet, maybe not much of an issue. If I'm gonna go out and start fishing at 30 feet, then I wanna make sure that if I catch fish, I'm just gonna keep them. Instead of releasing those fish and continuing to fish on, actually, by releasing fish and continuing to fish, you can be killing 10 fish, 15 fish. You can be doing even more damage and more harm. So you're absolutely right, is knowing how deep you're fishing at is very key.
Okay, and are there any signs? I mean, knowing the depth is one thing, but can you tell if you've done damage in other ways? When
you hook that fish deep and you're removing the hook and you do some internal damage to that fish, anglers know, they can feel that. So that would be another fish to make sure that you keep that fish instead of just releasing that back into the water. We want to encourage catch and release, but we want to encourage people doing it the right way, Lisa.
Okay, great conversation to have today. Doug Leier with the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.